The Plucky Squire. This is a story puzzle platformer, which has you exploring a book of the same name. The twist is that you have to explore the real world as well in order to stop the bad guy from destroying the book. Funny enough, this isn't the first time that I reviewed a game that takes place in a storybook, and you also interact with the real world. I reviewed a game a couple years ago called RPG Time: The Legend of Wright, which tells a story using a notebook and other items. It's a fantastic game if you ever want to try it. Now, I was excited to play this, as it has the same kind of idea, only done as a puzzle platformer. However, the story itself was kinda lacking. I did love how there was a narrator that would read you the story, and they do some clever things with the book, but overall, it feels like the same idea over and over again in the book. The whole gimmick of the book is that you're walking around the world, which are all in the pages in the book. The main thing that you will do in this part is fight enemies, cut bushes for money, and swap words around in order to change something. I liked the gimmick of changing words, even if it was a little tedious at times, as you're walking back and forth with the words in order to see what different effects they would do. Sometimes it would make pointless changes, but I liked how it had different possibilities. But a great deal of the words won't do anything and won't attach to phrases if you're trying to change them. Eventually you'll get the ability to jump out of the book, and that's where things run into some issues. The Switch's hardware has some problems with this section, as the frame rate really starts to fluctuate. It's never unplayable, but it is sure noticeable. These sections have you sneaking around to find objects or solve the puzzle of an area. One of my favorite times when we came out into the real world, they gave us a jetpack and they gave us full freedom to go wherever we want in the area. I loved it, and I wish the game was just this. It was fun to explore with freedom, because most of the time you're on a pretty linear path. There are some side areas if you want to collect money for upgrades or concept art, but for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. The objects that you get from the real world would help you manipulate the book. From flipping pages to tipping the book to move some objects, and even stamping the book to stop items. Occasionally there were boss fights, and they had some interesting ideas, as they would often just be simple minigames to stop them. However, there was one in particular that I almost rage quit on. They have you do rhythm-based blocks of projectiles that were fired at you. Okay, let me throw in a little behind the scenes here. Before the littlest Wiiviewer moved out, he would always do these sections for me, because I suck at rhythm games. He was surprised I was even able to play Mario and Luigi Brothership, since it's so focused on it. But lucky for me, most of the minigames, and even the battles, they basically give you a give-up system, where they would take the difficulty of the battle down to a toddler's level, or you could just skip the minigame itself. And I appreciated that. However, this game didn't have any kind of skip feature. It expects you to do it, and you if you can't. I played this game in easy mode and it took me 10 tries and a lot of luck to get by it, only to have a much harder one of these sections. It took me even longer, and after I got past it, I put this game down for a week. I was so angry. They do give you a little bit of help by letting you start at the health level the boss had when he died. But that doesn't help much since you had to go through a barrage of projectiles before you could even hit him. Now this game isn't that long. Even being stuck on the boss battle for what I'm guessing is about an hour, I beat it in about 9 hours. It did have an interesting ending, but it's not a game I would ever replay. The Plucky Squire was okay. As a platformer, it felt a bit slippery, but it was not that bad. As a puzzle game, it was sure repetitive, but the fairly quick moving story helped keep the game fun to play. You will constantly be moving from different locations, and I really like that. Now I think you should wait for this to go on sale. It doesn't run very well on the Switch in some sections, but it is still fun to explore and fight monsters and experience the story. But I do think RPG Time did it better, but if this game looks fun to you, I would wait for it to go on sale.